Welcome to the BobbleOn podcast,
where we're committed to providing practical advice and strategies to increase your revenue, unify your team, and create accountability throughout your organization.
Let's go.
Podcast time. Podcast.
It's good to be back.
I feel a lot of people listening, I can't see. ZB set up two separate cameras today, and I feel like I can't move because I don't want to go out of frame. Do you feel that way, or do you feel comfortable?
The light in my right eye is blind.
Is that why you're crying out of the left? Yeah. It's like you're focused so much on the left.
Yeah. I'm excited for this podcast today. We talked about it last week about some tips to do pre-conference. Yep. And today we're going to recap what we did. That was great. Two takeaways.
Two great takeaways that you can implement in your next conference to make it a huge win.
Mm-hmm. We did the pre, now we're doing the post.
Oh, pre and post.
It's a 1-2. And a 1-2 for me, I mean, that basically feels like a light wind. It's not going to hurt anybody.
I don't know. It depends. I've never been hit by you.
No, hopefully never. Hopefully never.
But, and I think, I'm really excited about this because we spent 6 out of the last 7 days flying on the road at conferences. And, I felt like we got a lot out of it. And these two takeaways will be really helpful for those listening.
Mm-hmm. But give your personal takeaway of the week.
Personal best. This past week, a lot of stuff happened. This past week, though, Sadie and I booked our wedding celebration.
Whoa!
Yeah. So Massive. It's going to be August 29th for anyone listening. You guys are open invite. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But show up anyway. It's going to be awesome.
We're going to do it. I think we're going to do it at Framingham Country Club.
Sick.
Yeah. Where you and I are members. And August 29th.
So that means I'm splitting the cost apparently.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I'm definitely putting it on your bill. I'm going to get 13763 and 13761, please. It's
now
gold.
Yeah.
Great. But we're going to do it a little different. The two of us are going to get officially married the day before. Just do it kind of a solo mission.
Nice.
Solo mission. I'm just going to get married by myself. But the two of us together make it a private ceremony thing, and then the day of it should be a really big party. We'll start indoors, we'll end outdoors. We're gonna do a tent and indoors.
Sick.
Try to get a good band. A couple bands I've reached out to though. Yeah. That's the downside about booking this and planning it like 6 months and not 12 or 15 is that they're already taken.
Like Pitbull?
Well, Pitbull wasn't on the list. Mariah was on her list. Drake, I reached out to Drake. There's a different Drake. It's a 7-piece band from Dorchester. They call themselves Drake.
That's awesome. That's good.
But yeah, we're excited. Sick. We're excited. This way we can invite more people, indoor, outdoor, and even if it rains, there's a tent. So we're really pumped.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where is it? So the private, the day before, you're thinking like your parents, her parents, like kind of like Yeah,
I think like immediate family, and we haven't planned it out completely the location, but
does buy-sell family like myself get included in that?
Contractual family? You're actually the only contractual relationship I have right now. So I don't know. I'll leave it up to you.
Whatever, Sadie. Welcome to the club.
All right. What about you?
That's awesome. That's cool update.
Thanks.
For me, personal best. A lot of good things to choose from. I think when, as you know, with Parker, when you have young kids, I think traveling, there's highs and lows, of course, and I think. Experiencing and kind of feeling it was kind of like my personal best of that was kind of just realizing how much travel impacts my family and really kind of just being in the moment when I got back. Like I really had a lot of time to think about it, and obviously with the tragic passing of Kobe, like that hit you, it hit me extremely hard, and like thinking through that and really getting back home yesterday, and I know how you travel and I travel. Like when we get home, we have 17,000 things to do. So my personal best was like really just kind of being in that moment, throwing everything away, and just getting on the floor with Mason, having fun, getting on the floor with Emma, having fun, sharing a beer with KG to end the night, and just saying, you know what, that can all wait. And it was just such a good thing. I'm so bad at that.
Yeah.
I have historically failed. And I got to say, I was proud of myself because I was able to just shove it. And I purposely left my bag downstairs in the mudroom. I didn't even bring it up. And that was just like a personal best for me, was just to be there.
Yeah,
it was super fun.
I think one thing you and I have always struggled with, and I think a lot of people listening probably are nodding their heads, is that, being present. when you're home, fully present. And it's sometimes hard. It's not just to open your bag. That's a really physical, great capture, but just to shut your mind off and be right there.
It's super tough. And I got to give it to KG. I mean, she, the kids and her made me like signs and cards at like coming home. So like, I wanted to have this idea, but it's like borderline impossible when your kids run up to you with like gifts and stuff, and they were like so pumped up and excited, and it was just cool that you kind of feel like your own celebrity when you walk home. But it was great being back, so that was definitely personal best. But August 29th, Framingham Country Club, Gates Road, Framingham.
Hey! You don't need to give up that much information about where this is.
Let me know if you need the address.
Now, yeah,
I'm pumped for it. That's so cool.
We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a blast.
Awesome.
Hey, you said beer with KG. What was the beer of choice?
She got Night Shift,
nice.
which I love, and it was a spring beer. They have a new spring one. I didn't know, which was ideal because it was like refreshing.
Yeah.
Which we've had like heavy IPAs being in San Diego and all that stuff.
Have you noticed, let's dive into San Diego, but have you noticed that this is probably the first podcast we're both at the edge of the seats leaning forward? Do you think it has anything to do with the position of the cameras?
It could be the position of the cameras or the calming presence of ZB behind them.
He calms me down.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you, no one can see or hear, he just raised his hands in a very calming fashion. Thank you, ZB.
Down the road, as this podcast continues to grow, maybe we'll have another cameraman just on ZB.
Oh, I like that. That'd be the first, it'd be like the first vlog inception, like he'd be filming us, someone will be filming him, and then someone will be filming him. So where were we this last week?
I'm too focused on ZB. We were in San Diego.
Yep.
For the IAOA conference put on by Nick and Dave, and obviously help from their lovely wives and family. It was just really well done. And that it was for about almost 1,000 agency owners across America, which is super cool. And the second half of the week, we were with our partners from the HILB, which was almost 100 agency owners from pretty much East Coast-ish.
Yep.
It's kind of where HILB really focuses primarily now. They go as west as like Midwest right now, like mid-state actually. But
who all have bought into HILB over the last 7-8 years and make decisions together, but really are there to talk to the corporate team and make sure we understand where we're headed, how we're going to get there, et cetera.
It was interesting. That's a really good point you bring up, because the first half of the week was much more an idea share of like, here's what's working at my agency and here's what I've seen work in my region. And with the HILB, it was way more focused on what can we do together.
Yeah.
So it was actually just very polar opposite conferences.
It was, I think we'll spend a minute on HILB because I think the two big takeaways we'll touch on is IAOA and what we did during that, because I think that those are implementable things that people can run with. But it was really a fun 2 days because we get to meet a lot of people who are in a similar position as us, who are looking to grow a massive company together. And the conversations for the first time ever with other insurance agents were really like, how can I generate more premium for you? How can I help create more revenue for you? Here's some ideas. We've got, health and benefits, and that's all we do. Or someone else saying, all we do is mid to large market commercial. And we're sitting there like, wow, like HILB's only 12% personal lines. We can help all of those people. And figure out how to share business and revenue. It was really exciting.
It was fun. I think that's the interesting thing about being on a team where you all have a unified vision, is you're very, very open to sharing and growing and really seeing financial growth. Whereas the IAOA conference, while it is open idea sharing, it is open session, it's a little bit close to the chest on the financial growth and the financial well-being of my firm. And it's more theory and tactical. It's less, let's take a look at the books.
Let's dive into EBITDA.
What's working, what's not working from a revenue side. How much do you pay your individual producer? That kind of things, tackling those kind of problems.
Right. It was enlightening. I mean, I really thought that, walking away from it was like, wow, there's close to 100 agency owners who are all in. They are all in, and they're all going to collectively help create a $2 billion company when it's $200 million now. And that's fun. That's exciting. But going back to IAOA in San Diego.
Which Nick and Dave fixed the acronym
Yeah. The Innovation Conference. That's what they call it. Innovation Conference.
Yeah.
IAOA is the Facebook group. But so there's 6,000 agency owners only in that group. And out of that group, they do a conference every year. There's about 1,000 agency owners that went. 30% are first timers. So they're pretty young, pretty young in tenure. The rest of them are really 5 to 20 years. There aren't a lot of older tenured agencies. And the whole conference is about collaboration. So there are agency owners teaching other agency owners, speakers, breakout sessions, workshops, etc. And that's what we love about it, because people just sharing ideas of what's working for them.
Yeah, it was a really good designed. I think Nick and Dave do it better every single year. And we're certainly not telling you have to go to this conference, but it was certainly valuable to us. But I think the two takeaways that we're going to talk about now would make any conference valuable, regardless of who's speaking.
Yes.
So we talked in the pre about why in choosing your conferences wisely, we chose our conference wisely. The only thing we set up at the conference, outside of I'm excited to see you, outside of I'm really pumped you're going to be there and kind of having an understanding, looking through the list, seeing who's speaking, we worked with Cameron, who's an agency owner out of
Washington?
Yes. To organize a dinner with about 20, 15 people. 20. Yeah, give or take. So about 2 tables at Ironside Fish in San Diego. And that was fun because it was the very first night.
Yeah.
And so you're breaking bread before there's any real speakers. And it's a big takeaway. The takeaway, to round myself back around, is to break bread get somebody to invite a bunch of people you don't know. That was the key takeaway for you. Now we got to meet some people that we had heard of, but hadn't really spent hours with.
Well, because these conferences, this is our 3rd year or so. I mean, these conferences you go to, a lot of the people and you're excited to see them. And so it's really natural to run towards hanging out with those who you know really well. But intentionally, we were like, hey, let's create let's set up this dinner and make sure that the people we really, some people that we know well we'll invite, but then let's make sure that there's people there that we don't know. Create new relationships and learn from people that we don't know. I mean, it was really helpful. And we talked a lot about strategy, but really just talked about what was going on in our worlds too.
It was intentionally overly social. And that was interesting to do at the conference, was get 20-ish people together to break bread who are all going to be intensely learning the next day or two. But let's just kick back. Let's toast to each other. Let's toast to the fact that we're all here, that we're going to be sharing, being a little bit vulnerable, getting uncomfortable in some kind of ways and sharing what's working, what's not working, asking deeper questions. But for right now, let's just have a shot of tequila.
Yeah.
Let's just kick back. Let's learn a little more about each other.
I think the only filter that we really had was mindset. So let's make sure that the people that are going to be there are good people and they have the right mindset, which is just growth. And that doesn't mean growth like they're growing at 40%. It means just they're looking to grow through learning, education, grow profitability, grow whatever it is. But that had to be there because imagine a dinner with people, half the people were not in a growth mindset. It wouldn't work.
That sounds like a bad steakhouse.
They probably wouldn't go to the conference in the first place.
No.
So the first big takeaway to make it a real big win is beforehand, set up a dinner, 10, 15, 20 people, half of which you know and half which you don't know.
The one caveat that I think made this one successful was we asked a friend to help us set it up. That way, he controlled the invites. So we got to see some people that we actually didn't know intentionally.
Yeah.
Whereas if it would be difficult to meet people you don't know by just randomly asking them.
Just slide into the DMs.
Pre-conference.
Yeah.
During conference, it'd be easier.
I saw your name on a list. You live in Illinois. Would you like to come to dinner with us?
I've been forever targeting Illinois. Yeah, it would be a little intimidating. So shout out to you, Cameron. Thank you for the help.
Yeah. And Crowley, thank you for paying.
Which you didn't follow through on, Crowley.
Yeah, no, I know. He didn't pay.
Yeah.
So second takeaway, something that you had facilitated, and it was the second day. And we have a couple breaks in between a few different speakers and workshops and whatnot. And one of those breaks took the opportunity to schedule a roundtable fireside chat, just open discussion, brainstorm. It had about 20, 25 people, right, that were there. And it was strategically in the middle of the day. It wasn't at the end with drinks. It wasn't the beginning of the day at breakfast. It was right in the middle of the day, in between a couple different sessions. And it wasn't like, hey, let's plan this out 30 days out, or here's the list of things, the agenda we're going to go through, but let's just get some great minds together and talk. And see what happens.
It was a perfect time for you and I to do this too, which I guess that's part of the takeaway too. there's a lull midday at a conference. Your brain can only take so much at a given time. And a lot of these conferences, it's like referrals, it's like financial, it's community, there's so many different topics. Your brain is naturally va-voom, 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 right? So this was like post-lunch, pre-end of conference. There was a couple key factors of why this event worked. One, we got to control who was there. So we purposely picked people who, one, we knew were vulnerable, and two, were doing interesting things. And they were where they were geographically located didn't really matter. Part two, we were outside. Loved the fact that we could be outside, sitting around a fire pit. I wasn't on, unfortunately, and just be outside, because the conference is always inside, and that's not as fun. You're in San Diego,
right.
Like, let's go outside. And the third part about it was, like you said, there was no agenda, which allowed people to say, I'm wondering what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's get out there and let's do it.
Well, some of the common questions were things like, what are you working on? What are you doing this year? Like, what are your plans this year? And that's pretty open-ended. And that allows people to really think like, hey, this is what I want to share. This is what I want to talk about. Opposed to like, what's your biggest challenge, or do you have any staffing problems, or whatever it might be. But it was open-ended questions. A lot of people shared. And we walked away with an awesome action item that we want to talk a little bit about. But Grant Botma shared a lot about his future, what he's doing, what he's working on now, and where he's headed. And Ryan Hanley, who has a really exciting moment right now, starting his agency Rogue Risk and capturing it on video and going through that process, which we know is really difficult and challenging, but exciting. And the two of them talked a lot about that, but really the aha was afterwards, after the meeting, when the four of us just got together and we were like, hey, like, it sounds like we're all very passionate about where we're headed, and we're all really, really excited about executing in the next year. Let's get together and talk about it. Let's get together once a month and get on a Zoom call, get on a video call, and start talking about it. Whether it's a specific challenge we're all running into, helping one person actually accomplish their mission that month, or just collaborating around visionary ideas. It'll be something that we're really excited to do and share with people.
I blacked out during that conversation. I don't know what happened. I just know there were signed agreements. No, we're very excited, and we're going to be launching that probably within a month or two, where we're going to record our conversations, and wherever it goes, it goes. It's going to be it's going to be a good switch up with the BobbleOn podcast to include two thought leaders. Love that Grant is from Arizona, and like that's he's got a different mindset. The three of us are from like Northeast, so you got to get a little bit different. Grant has so much going on in his agency that's so different because insurance is a piece of the pie. Right. It's not the majority of the pie.
Yeah.
Whereas Ryan is all in, starting from scratch, and you and I are in a big transition too. We all three gamuts.
Three completely different perspectives, and all are exciting and will work really well. But they all bring new challenges, different challenges that others don't have to. So it's going to be great to get together and collaborate and share that with everybody. And I'm really excited about that. I know you are too.
Yeah, that's a great. But again, to keep going back to the second takeaway, that does not happen. It does not happen unless we are in a discussion where there's no alcohol involved, where it's not like late night at a bar where we're like, oh, just chat, it'd be great, and there's like loud music playing. The conference scene, what we're talking about.
I'm nodding my head like, well, I wish we went there. We didn't go to anything like that.
It's super uncomfortable now. And people aren't willing to be vulnerable in that situation. And you also don't really know that, hey, we talked about this last night. Is that like, do you still want to do this? And the person's like, nah, not really. I was just kind of guessing you off.
That was Tito's talking.
Yeah, I was hoping
you my friend Tito's.
Yeah. But this was during the day, and our heads were spinning from all these ideas, and some ideas we loved, some ideas we were like, I don't know how that would work. And then all of a sudden we came together and huge idea formed. So we're really excited to unleash that very soon.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to help a lot of people. I think my last takeaway, it's not a third takeaway. It's my personal takeaway, is I'm really appreciative. We both are very appreciative of a lot of the in-person feedback we got at the conferences from insurance agents saying, I've been listening to the podcast. I've listened to the podcast. I've had my team listen to it. I love the feedback. I love the content you guys go through, the tactical nuggets of information, of really making an impact on myself, my team, my life. And just hearing that over and over again really solidified that we're doing it for the right reasons, and it's a fulfilling project.
next time come up to me and mention that. I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, right.
No, it was fulfilling, and we talked about this that 2 years ago at the innovation, 2 years ago and a year ago, we were hearing a lot about, hey, your vlog just highlights such amazing, interesting things, and we're coming back to the vlog, so we'll spoiler alert.
Did you just tease it?
Well, spoiler alert.
Okay.
We're gonna be relaunching a little bit about that, but
So yeah, you just went Botma, Hanley, collab monthly, FaceTime, Zoom calls, Zoomies, and you threw in the vlog tease? That's a lot for one episode. And if people got to this deep into the episode, they're thanking themselves.
yeah, actually, all of you are still here. but to your point, we got a lot of attention from the video. Like I didn't know that an insurance agency could look like that. That I didn't understand that business development meetings, like this is how casual you guys were. It's interesting about the process. That wow, you're in Miami, or wow, you're in New York, and that was interesting. It was nice to kind of come on the scene. But the podcast love is totally different. The podcast is more like, oh my God, thank you. I implemented that.
Yes.
And so we don't want to leave that.
Yeah.
But we also want to talk about topics that we don't necessarily have an answer to.
Yep.
And that we're all thinking about. So maybe you can reach out and be like, I do have that answer.
Yeah.
I'd love to help you with that, or I'd love to talk about that. There's a lot of you listening. We have a couple thousand listeners now, and it's really gaining a lot of traction, this podcast. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for commenting and reaching out to us directly. Because we know how difficult that is to walk up to someone and talk directly that this is really helping me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize I need help. So
no, it's just a humbling
Shout out.
experience. It made both of us feel it felt good. We were doing it for the right reasons. And I appreciate you being honest too by saying a couple thousand listeners, because you could say that we have 200,000, 500,000, 1 million listeners, but it wouldn't be honest. But we're proud of listening and the subscribers we have, but we want to expand it. Because a lot of the stuff we talk about is not insurance specific, but we don't want to leave the insurance community. So how do we do that? We pivot it up, and we'll spend another episode talking a little bit about the new strategy and making sure that we preserve what we're doing by adding layers of value elsewhere.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that? Talking about the vlog versus podcast just for a second. The vlog, what's so interesting is it's tough to get really good data on how long someone watches a vlog. Meaning, Facebook won't. Facebook was proven that they're misleading consumers with their data on that.
Yeah.
YouTube has better data, but in essence, it's difficult. You see people watched it or people looked at it, but what does that really mean? Most people don't even watch Facebook videos with sound. It's difficult. Podcasts, you can see exactly when someone drops off due to their analytics. And we looked at our podcast, and one thing I just want to say thank you to everybody listening out there. 91% get to the end of our podcast. If you're one of the 9%, boom! I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
But
no. The
that's
9% that don't get to the end got to their destination. They have too short of a commute. They have
slow down.
A 7-minute commute.
Slow down.
No, that's great to know, and that's information. That again proves why we are not going to stop what we're doing with this podcast. We're going to add a different layer of value to incorporate within the podcast, and we're just going to increase listeners, subscribers, and just add another flavor of value.
ZB, get your running shoes on. Get ready. I see you working back there.
Where's he running to?
I don't know. He's got stuff to do. We gotta.
It's a stationary podcast. We got like 2 stationary. Everything's stationary here. Where's he running to?
That's what you think.
All right. Well, 2 takeaways. We learned schedule dinner or lunch ahead of time. Half people that you know, half people don't know. And the big takeaway we had that you organized was get together a mastermind group on the whim, get 20, 30 people involved, all right mindset, collaborate, open-ended questions, and see what comes from it. And we're super pumped that Hanley and Botma came from it. And we're going to do some Zoomies.
I don't even know why we just did a 30-minute pod.
That 9% just fell off.
BobbleOn!